about a thing. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Grossi Packer Nation! Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Well, at least DeVontae Adams isn't holding out Grossi. And yes, it's officially that day, the first day of mandatory minicamp, and there was one notable absence, and that was one Aaron Rodgers. So, time for everybody in the media to panic and make some clickbait. Before we jump into this, I want to do a big shout and thank you to some brand new patrons and YouTube members. First, on the Patreon side of things, we have Joe Bonogo, we have Scott Skunk, and we have Andrew Cawthorn. A big shout out and thank you to you. And over on the YouTube side of things, we have Jojo Bella, Dan Mitchell, and Aiden Biddle. A big shout out and thank you to you all. So yes, last night, the story broke that it was likely that Aaron Rodgers was not going to be showing up today. A whole bunch of people sent me some DMs and asked me my thoughts about it, and it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to do a video on it until he actually didn't show up, which is today. And so, yes, back when we were making Aaron Rodgers videos, and we made a couple of them, and they were a bit long, and we kind of explained this entire process, I explained that mandatory minicamp was basically like the first real test. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers didn't show up to OTAs and basically forfeited $500,000, but at the same time, you also had all the veteran wide receivers not show up. So I wasn't as concerned. Now, fast forward to today, thankfully, all the wide receivers returned, including DeVontae Adams, which I know was a bit of a concern considering he's in a contract year. So there was a little bit of hesitation and nervousness that he might decide to sit out as well, but nope, it was just Aaron Rodgers. Now, unfortunately, that wasn't all who was missing from today's practice because you had Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Dean Lowry, and Elton Jenkins all on COVID protocol, so it doesn't mean they necessarily tested positive for COVID, but they are not allowed in the building. So hopefully, if they are sick, they have a fast recovery. Either way, it's going to be good when they're back on the practice field. But let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. So Rodgers deciding to forego minicamp. It's likely that he's not going to show up within these next 2 days. So that's going to cost him a grand total of $93,085, unless the Green Bay Packers decide to waive that, which they might as a gesture of good faith, but it seems that this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Mark Murphy, in his Take 5 column, addressed this. He said the less that is said publicly, the better, so it doesn't seem like you're going to really hear from both sides. It's been kind of the same rhetoric from the Packers organization that they really want him back. You had DeVontae Adams speaking to the media, basically saying that he will go to bat for Aaron Rodgers any day of the week, and that kind of idea was spread amongst teammates who were also speaking today. Of course, they want him back, but even David Bakhtiari said he wouldn't hold a grudge regardless of what the outcome was. And so, unfortunately, what this means for Aaron Rodgers is we're not really going to know anything for a bit now, because the next big date is going to be mandatory training camp, and that's when things get real expensive, because that's going to cost him $50,000 for every single day of training camp that he misses. But as I said, it doesn't really seem like anything is really changed for either side, so they're still duking it out. Who knows what's being said in private? And so honestly, at this point, it's just kind of waiting and seeing again, which is very frustrating, but I don't think that this ensures that Aaron Rodgers is gone. I also don't think this ensures that he's going to stay either. It's just a matter of they have to work it out. And as I said from the beginning, like, the Green Bay Packers have all the leverage here, because if they just refuse to trade him this year, Rodgers really doesn't have a whole lot of options. It's either retire, which I don't think he's going to do, sit out, which is going to cost him millions of dollars, or play football. And that's it. So we'll see if this winds up getting sorted out within the next month or month and a half. But until then, we just have to wait and see. Now, with Aaron Rodgers' absence, this means that Jordan Love, who was kind of the focal point of OTAs, also got to get some first team reps and actually get some wide receivers who are going to be starters to throw to. Now, Jordan Love did have himself a bit of a rough day, went 12 for 23, had a failed 2-minute drill. I am not going to panic on this because, again, if you were Following the Packers back in 2005, Aaron Rodgers was not good in training camp for quite some time. So let's not overreact here, he said, knowing that everyone was going to overreact. But I actually love the fact that Jordan Love is going to be able to benefit from this because obviously he missed out on the preseason last year. And so hopefully we're going to be able to kind of get a good look at what the kid can do. Obviously, his coaches have been praising him up and down for his work in the offseason, that his release looks better, his footwork looks better. It's just about getting that mental game there. So while Jordan Love did struggle with accuracy today, I can only hope that he's going to improve as time goes on. And just a final note about the wide receivers that did show up. DeVontae also came out and said that he did not collude or tell any of the veteran wide receivers not to show up. When DeVontae was asked why he missed OTAs, he basically said it's not for the reason you think. So it's a personal matter that has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. And he basically said that he is not going to hold out because he's going to get all the money that he has earned. So a big sigh of relief that, our wide receiver one is not going to be sitting out this year. So at least we don't have to worry about that for right this second. And finally, some other news. The Green Bay Packers are expected to sign another inside linebacker, and that is former Falcon and Cardinal DeVontae Campbell. And so this seems like an interesting move. While he doesn't have the greatest stats in the world when it comes to run stopping and also coverage, the guy is pretty consistent in his play. So he started the past 70 of his 75 career games. He had 4 years with the Falcons where he had 3 interceptions, 16 passes defended, 5 forced fumble, 5.5 sacks, and 234 solo tackles. He spent 1 year with the Cardinals in which he had 3 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 2 sacks, and 69 nice solo tackles. So it's another body for camp. He will be able to compete for a starting position because at inside linebacker, things are a little thin right now. And so I like this signing just because it's hey, let's see what the guy has. He's a vet. He's been around for a while, and he could potentially help out that Joe Barry offense, which is really focusing on inside linebacker. So if he's going to succeed, this is the place to do it. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers not showing up? Are you shocked? Are you dismayed? Are you disappointed? Just come back, Aaron. Please. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media you see down below. Check out Packcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack, go.